Hi there, YouTube. I have been making maple syrup. Today, I just pulled the taps, so we're done for the season. North Carolina has a very short sap season, apparently, but you can actually tap maple trees here and make pretty good maple syrup. Who knew? So, today's Kingdom song is like the placeholder song in the Brown songbook. Like they needed a song to fill a specific piece of white space in the actual printed book, and so they just kind of crammed this one in there. Maybe, I guess I'm spitballing here. Maybe it was intended for those meetings when the speaker ran long and everybody was ready to get the hell out of there, but maybe that would have been every meeting, come to think of it. But everybody knew that we couldn't leave without singing a Kingdom song. You know what I mean? Because this one is another like 8-bar wonder. Like somebody had an idea one time for part of a song and then got tired of working on it and said, oh, to hell with it. Just repeat this part over and over and call it a day. And to add insult to injury, they actually phoned it in on the lyrics too. I mean, it's really bad. This song debuted in the 1984 songbook and went away in the next iteration of the songbook in 2009. It was song number 198 in 1984, and it's called Getting to Know Our God, which really reminds me of like an appliance user manual. You know, you buy a washing machine and it says, getting to know your Kenmore appliance. Truly we can tell, for we know well how God now feels. He so graciously has set us free, and with us deals. Man, the sisters in our hall used to strain their vocal cords, not to mention rending eardrums within a 3-mile radius with the first note of this song. Whose idea was it to have a high C as the first note? I mean, what kind of sadistic bastards did they have working on the songbook committee? What did we ever do to them to deserve this? And then there's the lyrics themselves. We can tell, for we know well. Usually when you say you can tell something, you're saying that you are inferring a conclusion based on context clues, right? You don't really know for a fact, but you say you can tell because it appears that way, right? To say we know well implies that we have evidence of something or that we're well educated on the subject. So why would we say those two things together? It's like saying, I'm making a guess about something and I know for sure that I'm correct. Well, if you know for sure, you aren't guessing. Now, what is it that we're inferring or claiming to know here? How God feels. And apparently, his emotional state has changed recently since we're saying we know how he now feels and not necessarily how he felt yesterday. That would explain New Light, though. How in the world are we claiming to know how God feels? I mean, nobody's ever produced a single shred of credible evidence to even show that God exists, much less that he has feelings. But here the witnesses are singing about how they guess they're certain that they know how he feels. And another thing. What, pray tell, are we being set free from? Leisure time? Restful weekends? And how nice of him to deal with us now. I mean, what are we dealing? 5-card stud? Blackjack? Go fish? Crack? I mean, who did he deal with before? And why did he leave? You know, we really need to know that before we hire him, y'all. I mean, seriously, this has got to be the stupidest song ever written. He is merciful and lovable. This we do find. In him we can trust. We are not lost, but he is kind. Now, I think we've talked before about how merciful God is with this visiting the sins of the fathers upon 4 generations of children or something like that, because that makes sense. Certainly very merciful, or not. In the Bible, God is always putting someone to death. Lots of someone's actually always smiting people, telling his people to kill everything, even animals in battle. But, oh yeah, they can keep the enemy's virgin daughters for themselves because that's just fine. The Bible says in Deuteronomy that if a woman is raped, the rapist should marry her and pay her father for her. How merciful and lovable is that? Ugh. And while we're at it, let's talk about being lovable. Now, the Jehovah's Witnesses are always talking and singing about how God is to be feared, how great and powerful he is, how worthy of worship. But if you look at his actions described in the Bible and his plans for the future according to the Jehovah's Witnesses, that is wholesale slaughter of 99.9% of humanity at Armageddon, he sounds anything but lovable. In fact, he sounds mean. And another thing. How is it that we find this information? I mean, these lines are pretty deliberate about saying we do find that he is merciful and lovable. Are we like judging something, or is this like his sentence? I don't get it. We certainly don't find this, though, depicted in the Bible. So maybe the words we find here are a secret Jehovah's Witness code that means we believe this because Watchtower said so. To discern is to perceive or recognize something, often with some degree of difficulty. This word's often used to describe someone's judgment ability or their ability to make good decisions. And the grammatical construction of these lines shows a shocking lack of discernment about the English language. Basically, in the first part, they're saying that we have a lot to learn, a sentiment with which I do not disagree. And then comes the problematic part. We do discern about our God. Well, first of all, we don't need the word do here. It's superfluous. What are we discerning about God? You don't just go around randomly discerning. If they say we discern our God, okay, that actually means something, though it would be really hard to discern him because he doesn't actually exist. So I don't know what they're claiming to see, but I'd like to know actually, but I digress. No, when they say discern about our God, there should be something else there. They discern what about him? Inquiring minds want to know. Actually, what they're probably trying to say here is that they discern that they have a lot to learn about God, which I also can't disagree with now that you mention it, but the way they wrote it is just cuckoo. Now, the second line here actually makes me think of the famous Monty Python sketch, The Ministry of Silly Walks. I really want to see how exactly Jesus Christ trod. Well, they keep mentioning it and the need to imitate it, but no one's ever actually seen it. I mean, did Jesus march around with purpose? Did he shuffle and drag his sandals? Did he do the famous pioneer slog? I mean, I bet he wasn't skipping. God's love, as described in the Bible, is a tad bit problematic, as we have already discussed. I mean, smiting people, telling his followers to kill their children, allowing rape and abuse, not to mention all the slaughtering. I mean, we're talking about a guy who sent his own son to be tortured to death, for Christ's sakes, supposedly to pay for the sins of his other children, but the problem is that the sins were actually against him, and he could easily have forgiven them without killing anybody, particularly if he were actually the almighty creator of the universe. I'm just saying. So I'm not sure that the Jehovah's Witnesses know what they're actually saying here. Although if they are literally following the example Jehovah set in the Bible, it certainly does explain a lot. Now, the use of the word acclaim here is a little bit off-label. I mean, sure, the word can be used as a verb, meaning to praise enthusiastically and publicly, so technically it's not wrong, but more commonly this word's used as a noun, as in Bill Bowen and Barbara Anderson have won acclaim for their exposure of hidden child abuse among Jehovah's Witness congregations. And acclaim rhymes with name, so there's that. But then again, so does their other favorite word, proclaim. Okay, so they're doing their favorite thing, that is raving about Jehovah's name. Not Jehovah himself or his actions or really anything worthwhile, just his name. Why? Because he's supposedly true. Now, in order to be considered true, something has to be aligned with reality. I mean, it has to be proven, accurate, factual. I mean, I guess true can also mean that something is level if you're a carpenter, or that a person is loyal. So, I think we can rule out the meaning involving alignment with reality because there's like zero evidence that Jehovah exists, as we have already established. So is Jehovah loyal? Jehovah's Witnesses say he is, but they also say the world is ending, women are weaker than men, and that you can catch demons by shopping at yard sales. So what does this line mean? Is God level and square? Anyway, have a great day, guys, and thanks for watching. Also, thank you so much to those of you who have helped out my cousin. Really, really appreciate it. And also, I just looked at my channel statistics and saw that I have over 800 subscribers now. I am amazed. I can't believe that there are that many people who are interested in these videos. Just, wow. So I decided that I was going to do a very special Kingdom Melody video for whenever we hit the 1,000 subscriber mark.